Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're just going to be finishing up our time with the Scarf Milotic and Trick Room Now Ego team. As you guys probably have heard from the last couple of episodes, and if you follow the VGC circuit at all, I'm going to be going to Indianapolis tomorrow for the North American International Championships. The entire tournament's going to be streamed live at Pokemon.com/live, so go bookmark that website if you have not already. It's going to be really fun, and it should be a good show. I'm looking forward to competing again, since I did not compete in Nationals last year, and I commentated. This time around, I decided I wanted to get back on the competition field, really, to get some practice in before the World Championships, as I mentioned. But I still want to, do some Road to Ranked, obviously, before that, and I will try to pre-record, like, 1 or 2 episodes while I'm gone for the next couple of days as well. So, we're going to get into the first game of today's episode. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Ranked, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And this is going to be an exciting game. That's a really cool team. We see the Milotic. That's not a Milotic. That is Metagross, Tapu Lele, Arcanine, Whimsicott, Xurkitree, and Primanira. I actually don't know the proper pronunciation of that, which is my bad. Primanira. No, that's definitely not correct. I just don't remember the actual spelling of the name. So I'll see when we actually get in game. But that does threaten offensively, like it's a really solid water type. Xurkitree is pretty interesting because there's no Tapu Koko, and the Tapu Lele, Metagross, Arcanine, those are Pokemon I'm more, not comfortable going up against, but I have more knowledge of what they do. So, because there's a potential Trick Room, well actually I guess there's a Tailwind and a Trick Room combination from my opponent's end. Metagross really wrecks me. That's pretty bad. I think I'll lead with Now Ego, and Milotic actually might be decent here. Yeah, I'll go with Milotic. I definitely want Tapu Koko here. And for the last one, it's a toss-up between Kartana and Gyarados. I think I'm going to go with Kartana, though, because my matchup against Metagross is non-existent otherwise. To be honest, this matchup doesn't look too great, so I'm going to have to try to play pretty well in order to get out of it. But we're going to get into the first game of today's episode. And thank you, as always, for just being awesome fans and supporters. I was, going through, I finally got a chance to go through, a bunch of the comments from the last couple of videos, and I do read all your comments, and I haven't been as good as responding, but just know that I really do read and appreciate all of your messages, and thank you guys, as always, just for watching my content. So we're going to see Whimsicott and Metagross here against my Now Ego and Milotic. Okay. This is tricky because I don't know the item on Metagross, and obviously you'd imagine he could just Bullet Punch me. However, I can just go for a Sludge Bomb on Whimsicott and a Scald onto Metagross. The only question is, I could also Protect Now Ego, but then I have to worry about a bunch of things. And my opponent also could, switch the Whimsicott out into Tapu Lele, although that's kind of risky, and go for a Zen Headbutt into Milotic. A decently safe play actually seems to be to switch into Kartana and just Scald Metagross, because I want to take care of Metagross. I think I'm actually going to go for that. As tempting as Sludge Bomb is on Whimsicott, I do want to conserve Now Ego and its Focus Sash if I can, because it's pretty good in this matchup. Scald Burn onto the Metagross would be very nice as well. But Metagross just protects, so I actually could have Sludge Bomb there. No worries, though. Confirms it's not choiced, and we do see just a Tailwind go up. So obviously that's concerning, but it could be worse in the sense that, I mean, I could have gotten a free Sludge Bomb off there against Whimsicott, but yeah, I think if I'm my opponent, I'd probably attack there with Metagross, but good on my opponent's end, probably fearing a potential burn. I'm not sure if all-out pummeling knocks out Metagross, but Whimsicott shouldn't be able to do too much offensively here, and Metagross shouldn't be able to touch Kartana, so I think I will just all-out pummeling still, just to get that damage output and Scald. I think most likely Whimsicott here switches out into the Tapu Lele to get the terrain up, so you can just then headbutt Milotic. But ideally Whimsicott stays in, and I just get the double up to knock out Metagross. One of the ways to play around Whimsicott as a Pokemon in general is to just not target that slot, because when Whimsicott stays in, it basically can support a little bit, can set up Tailwind, Encore, but it doesn't really do much offensively. But instead, it's actually going to be Metagross swapping out for the Tapu Lele. So, I like that switch on my opponent's end. I do get a fair amount of free damage off against it here, so I actually don't mind this too much, unless Whimsicott has, a Shattered Psyche. Ooh, but it goes for a Light Screen. Very interesting. So that's one of the cool support moves that Whimsicott does get. So I'll take this turn because I don't really lose my Milotic, which I thought I would. Scald there actually does an okay amount. Unfortunately, no burn. A burn actually could have been a big deal here. All pummeling definitely won't knock out the Tapu Lele, but it should do enough where it's going to be in KO range from either another Scald or a Leaf Blade. and my opponent burns a turn of Tailwind. So I'll take this turn, since I was expecting the Whimsicott to switch out into Metagross, and for Metagross just to go for a Zen Headbutt, which probably knocks out my Milotic, since I don't really have any bulk on my Milotic. But let's see how much all pummeling does here. Jeez, that is nothing. Right, 4 times resist, of course. I mean, I still did over 50% to Tapu Lele, which is nice, but I forgot about the 4 times resist, so that's, like, obviously kind of troublesome. So, let's see. Wasting my Z move is kind of bad. Now, I can switch out into, like, Tapu Koko to change the terrain, but I'm wondering if I really want to do that. For example, I could... the question is, who do I think my opponent's going to target here? You would think Cortana, so, like, I could Protect and Scald, but that's kind of risky. I think I'd like to conserve Cortana for now, so I'll switch out into Tapu Koko to switch the terrain and go for just a Scald. Yeah, just because Cortana is really good against Tapu Lele, Whimsicott, and Metagross, and Whimsicott's actually switching out this time, probably back out into Metagross, yeah. So I'll take that as well, just because now I have terrain control at least for this turn. But it's still kind of an awkward position to be in, since Tapu Lele will get a free Psychic off. Although if you Psychic into my Milotic and give me a competitive boost, that would be amazing. So let's see. Ooh, it's actually Hidden Power Fire, I think. Nice. So that's even better for me, because... And I'm pretty sure that's Specs based off that output against Tapu Koko. So, and I get the burn. Yeah, so that was a really good turn. I think if you're my opponent, you might as well just Psychic there, since you know I'm Z-move. And Psychic under terrain should knock out most Cortanas, especially if you do have the Choice Specs. But I'll definitely take that turn. This is the last turn of Tailwind. So the concern here is that my opponent could set up another Tailwind. That's the main thing I'm not a big fan of right now. Now, Koko actually isn't exactly, like, it's not safe to just switch out into Cortana, because my opponent could just Hidden Power Fire that slot, so as a result, I'm actually going to stay in with Tapu Koko and just Thunderbolt Metagross. Like, if Metagross goes down, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll get a free Scald against it. I can burn it. But Tapu Lele to switch out, unfortunately for me. Back out into Whimsicott, probably, yeah. So that's kind of annoying, because I could have switched out, but if I were my opponent, I would have considered, like, going for a Hidden Power Fire. And I'm actually still faster with my Milotic, even with Tailwind up. Actually faster with both. Whoa. So that Metagross is not fast. Normally when you run Tailwind, you want to, like, EV the Metagross to at least outspeed. But I guess EVing to outspeed Tapu Koko is rather difficult, and since Metagross is kind of slow, but it's in the range where it's like you probably could EV to outspeed Koko. I think my Metagross on my Oregon team had enough to outspeed Koko, but I actually don't remember. I want to say it did for Tailwind. But, okay, Xurkitree comes in now. That's actually a huge problem for me. The good thing is, you know, there's no more Tailwind. The bad thing is, that's still a really major threat to me. Especially with Light Screen still up. But, I know that Whimsicott shouldn't be able to do too much damage, and I know I have the Focus Sash still on my Nile Ego. So I could double up into Whimsicott, but I don't think that knocks out anyway, so I might as well just go for as much damage as I can with the Thunderbolt and Scald into Xurkitree. Xurkitree could protect here, though, that's the downside. So we'll see if it does. This is kind of risky, but it doesn't. Oh, very nice. Whimsicott's attacking here, I think, and wow, that's definitely a crit. Yeah. Huh. Interesting that Whimsicott's going... That crit definitely helped me a lot, though, because it, like, just guarantees a knockout on Xurkitree. Oh. Wow, I was not expecting that. So the thing is, like, I think I would have been okay there, even without the crit, because it's like, then Xurkitree probably knocks out one of my 2 Pokemon. Then I get a free switch in into my Now Ego, which can either reverse the Trick Room or just Sludge Bomb. And since I have the Focus Sash, like, I can just knock the Xurkitree out probably after Scald and Thunderbolt. I don't know its item, though. That's the only tricky thing. Like, I'm looking at what my opponent's team had, and... yeah, I feel really bad. I really wish I didn't get that crit, because then I think my opponent had a very good, like, comeback potential, but that crit kind of just ruined things, so I'm kind of peeved by that, just because I would have liked to play it out. But with Tapu Lele coming in now, there's really not much my opponent can do, especially with the Now Ego in the back, and I know that the Tapu Lele is Specs. Yeah, so because I know it's Specs, might as well just double up into it with the Thunderbolt and a Scald. Yeah, but this game kind of demonstrates, one, why, like Light Screen and Aurora Veil, they're, like, great, but it can be kind of annoying. My opponent actually goes for another one, but yeah, it's not going to work. As we do see the Spec Psychic go into my Milotic. Maybe it's not Specs then, since my Milotic took that better than I thought. So I guess HP Fire just does a fair amount to Tapu Koko. But yeah, I would have liked to see how this would have played out otherwise, because I think the one thing that could have been concerning is if the Xurkitree had, like, the 50% berry. Because then it most certainly, you know, the Scald and Thunderbolt would probably bring it to like 25% range, and then it could proc the berry. Xurkitree could get a knockout, and then I'd get the free switching into the Now Ego, but then I wouldn't be able to knock it out. I could reverse Trick Room with Now Ego as well, but yeah, that crit really ruined things for my opponent, and I really wish we could have played the game without it, but you know, that's obviously part of Pokemon. But the Trick Room was really cool there. It was not something I anticipated at all, given that we saw the Tailwind and the Light Screen, and it's very uncommon to see a Whimsicott carry both Trick Room and Tailwind, and I maybe should have considered the Trick Room option, but the thing is, like, there wasn't much I could do to prevent it with a Scarf Whimsicott, sorry, a Scarf, a Milotic, and a Specs Tapu Koko out on the field. Like, given that position, I think the best play was to just double up into the Xurkitree slot, because even if Xurkitree protects, then you set up Tailwind, the next turn, like, Xurkitree can knock out one of my 2 Pokemon, and then I get the free switch into the Now Ego. Okay, we're going to find Morga from Italy with a rating of 1773 for our next opponent of the day. The matchmaking system has been so bad, or maybe no one's playing Battle Spot anymore. Makes me kind of sad. But Morga here has a team of the Mandibuzz, Tapu Fini, Garchomp, Arcanine, Kartana, and Snorlax. So, Mandibuzz is really scary. You know, I do have Tapu Koko, though, which could be decent. Like, maybe I could just go Tapu Koko Gyarados and just, like, Thunderbolt Waterfall immediately turn 1 to knock it out, preventing it from Tailwinding. Alternatively, I could actually go, like, Now You Go Gigalith. I'm not sure, like, trying to sweep through Trick Room is really the best option here. Actually, I bet, I wonder if the Mandibuzz can survive a non-electric terrain Thunderbolt from Specs Tapu Koko and a Life Orb Waterfall. I feel like no. I feel like, yeah, Gyarados Tapu Koko is really solid here overall. Milotic could actually put in a lot of work. And maybe I'll go Kartana here. Like, Milotic really gives Arcanine and Garchomp some trouble, especially outside of Tailwind. If Tailwind gets set up, I could be screwed, which is why I'm going with this lead. The Intimidate covers as well. And I can Hidden Power Fire Kartana as well. And Z-move Kartana on my end means I can one-shot the Snorlax or the Kartana and do a lot of damage to Garchomp, Mandibuzz, and the Tapu Fini. So it feels weird not bringing Now Ego or Gigalith. If my opponent doesn't bring Arcanine, because, and you know, my team is rather anti-Arcanine, then I don't have to worry as much about it, and Kartana can maybe have a little bit more reign in this game. But we can get into the second game of today's episode. Let's see what comes out. Yeah, I still feel bad about that critical hit in the last game. I don't know, I don't like winning games off RNG, just because winning a game in Pokemon when there's no RNG involved, like, you just feel better about it. And I don't know, like, I know it's part of the game, but that's just kind of how I view it. Either way, we're going to see the Tapu Fini and the Garchomp lead here from my opponent against my Gyarados and my Tapu Koko. So this is okay. Like, obviously I don't have terrain control, but I do get the Intimidate off against Garchomp, which actually goes a long way. So, let's see. Now, Garchomp doesn't threaten the Gyarados too much other than a potential Rock Slide, but at -1 it shouldn't do too much damage. It could Tectonic Rage my Tapu Koko, which is a concern. But I think what I'm actually going to do is go for a relatively safe play by just Dragon Dancing and Thunderbolting the Tapu Fini. It's likely here that Tapu Fini will want to protect, but even if it does protect, Garchomp at worst can Z-move my Tapu Koko to knock it out. But then I get a free Dragon Dance off with Gyarados and a free switch it into Kartana. So I do lose a Pokemon, but the momentum I get from that is so great. Otherwise, like, you know, I guess worst case, Garchomp does go for a Rock Slide, flinches me, and Tapu Fini survives the Specs T-Ball, which it definitely could. I am modest max special attack with this Tapu Koko, but Tapu Fini sometimes, I mean often, pretty much all the time are invested in some bulk at least, if not, like, not max bulk, but like Calm Mind variants, you'll want to opt for a mix between like HP and special attack. And Garchomp actually switches out, so regardless of what comes in here, that's looking pretty good for me. And it is Snorlax coming in, so I'll take that any day. And I just get a free T-Bolt off, which is so nice. So let's see if that knocks out Tapu Fini. Yeah, it does. So that's like the cool thing about choice specs. A lot of players don't expect it, and so you're able to just like, you know, pick up those knockouts. And so that turn worked out so well, and that was like pretty much the best case scenario because I don't even lose my Tapu Koko here. Now I can switch back out and in for terrain control. So really, really fortunate turn 1 there, but of course, even when you get a lead like that's this big in the first turn, you can't throw it, and you really have to play consistently going into the next couple of turns. So obviously I'm really happy about that. The choice specs definitely catching my opponent off guard. And that's why Tapu Koko is such a good Pokemon. It can carry so many different viable items, and each of them are so scary to play against. You know, it can run choice specs, it can run either Fairy Z or Electrium Z, it can run Life Orb, it can run Assault Vest, Focus Sash. Like, there's so many good items on Tapu Koko as Garchomp comes back in, which I'm also okay with. So what this means now is I can just go... I wonder if that's Scarf Chomp. It really could be. If it's Scarf Chomp, then you could probably fish for a Rock Slide flinch right now, which actually could be kind of annoying. But I think what I'm going to do here is just go straight for an Ice Fang into Garchomp and switch out into Kartana. Kartana's a relatively good switch in here and can check both Snorlax and Garchomp. The only thing Garchomp can really carry is like Fire Fang or Flamethrower, or I guess Fire Blast, to do substantial damage to Kartana other than a Tectonic Rage. And if Garchomp is not Scarfed, then Ice Fang will just pick up the knockout if it doesn't miss. If it is Scarfed, you know, you have to lock yourself into attack, and you'd imagine you'd want to lock yourself into Rock Slide. And if you do lock yourself into Rock Slide, you still have to get a flinch. But Garchomp actually switches back out, so kind of a nice bait and switch there for my opponent into the Mandibuzz. I think that makes a lot of sense, because if you just switch in Mandibuzz, you know, I could have just Thunderbolted and Waterfalled, since Mandibuzz obviously often doesn't carry Protect. But that's still switching into a +1 Life Orb Ice Fang from Gyarados, which definitely 2-shots. So I think the momentum I just gained first turn was so big here that I should be able to just close out this game. Yeah, that does so much. And regardless of what Snorlax does here now, Mandibuzz won't even get to set up a tail whip. Oh, but it's Wayo Charge! I guess that's like the one thing that maybe keeps my opponent a little bit in this game still. That's really cool to see. You don't see that on Snorlax every day, but it's definitely one of those tech moves that's kind of popping up now. But I'm still okay with that, because now that's a free switch in into my Tapu Koko. If you're running Wayo Charge on Snorlax, I mean, like, Snorlaxes often don't even have space to carry Protect. And if that's the case, you know, what I can do is just click the Dazzling Gleam button here and the Z move. Yeah, since Dazzling Gleam shouldn't put Snorlax in berry range. And even if it does, All-Out Pummeling might still just knock out. But I don't want to lock myself into Thunderbolt because I know I'm choiced here. And now, even if the Garchomp in the back is Scarfed, it shouldn't be able to knock out my Milotic in one hit with Earthquake, and so Ice Beam won't take care of it in the end game. So, you know, I've made pretty safe plays the first 2 turns, and it was just like the first turn, maybe my opponent didn't consider the choice specs, and that was just so good for me immediately, and the Dragon Dance. And now, yeah, I'm in a, like, the Wild Charge was cool though. I was like, okay, this game is over now, 100%. It still looks pretty good in my favor, but I'm trying to think what the worst case scenario is. I guess, like, I Dazzling Gleam, Snorlax does manage to heal all the way back to full HP, and then All-Out Pummeling doesn't knock out Snorlax, and then Snorlax gets a big attack off. But yeah, like I thought, even with specs, because Snorlax is so tanky, it does survive the All-Out Pummeling, doesn't put it in berry range, and now I can just go for the All-Out Pummeling. That should knock it out, but yeah, I was thinking, like, okay, if it takes enough from Dazzling Gleam, like, it probably has less HP investment. If that's the case, then I think the All-Out Pummeling from Kartana will knock it out anyway. So that's why I wasn't too concerned. But yeah, a really fast-paced game here, so I guess we'll get another 3-game episode. The first turn was just so good. Yeah, like the Specs T-Bolt, so good, specifically against Tapu Finis, because like most Tapu Finis won't be able to survive that. So Snorlax does go down. I get the Beast Boost here with Kartana, and now it's Tapu Koko, Kartana +1, and a Scarf Milotic in the back, all which can deal with Garchomp. So things are definitely looking pretty solid right now. But other than that, yeah, I think this is one of the games where it's like I kind of cheesed my opponent since I had the choice specs on Tapu Koko, and that's an item that is, I mean, it's not like crazy, but the thing is, like, with Garchomp and Tapu Fini, my opponent was in an awkward position because it's like Garchomp was already at -1. You know, Tapu Kokos often do carry that Fairy MZ, so you might want to switch out of fear of that. But I knew that the Tapu Fini can't do too much damage, and that's one of the reasons why Tapu Fini suffers a little bit, unless you're running choice specs. And if you're running choice specs, that means you have to forego some bulk. And so because of that, I knew, like, okay, even if Tapu Fini gets a Moonblast off against Gyarados or even Tapu Koko, worst case, it does 40-50% of damage, but that's totally worth getting a free Dragon Dance off. And it is actually Scarf Garchomp. Interesting. Very interesting. That would explain the switch out turn 1. Because it's like, oh, well, you don't want to Earthquake yourself, and you're intimidated, so might as well just switch out. I do get crit there with the Kartana, which is unfortunate, but my opponent's going to need another crit on my Milotic to win if Leaf Blade just doesn't knock out Garchomp, and it actually doesn't. But I don't... actually, I did have a better play there. I should have protected Kartana, because now I actually lose if Earthquake crits my Lodic, whereas if I just protected Kartana, I'd bring in my Lodic. I suppose I still lose to a double crit there. Yeah. So maybe it doesn't make too much of a difference, but I'll just Ice Beam. And Leaf Blade. Does it make any sense to protect Kartana? I don't think so. Yeah, because Earthquake's, like, 2 Earthquakes knock out my Lodic anyway, so I just need to hope to not get crit again. It'll be kind of sad if I get crit again, but we'll see. So my opponent's win condition, obviously when you're Scarf, that's all you can go for. So here's the Earthquake. Does he get it? No. Actually, even a crit wouldn't have knocked me out. Okay. Yeah. Like, my Lodic's defense isn't amazing, but Garchomp might be... you should be admin if you're running Scarf Chomp. Scarf Chomp's probably something you should expect to see a lot of this upcoming weekend over in Indianapolis, because I think it's actually really good in the metagame right now. But we do pick up a win here, and I think we'll have time for a 3rd game, so let's look for something. I bet the matchmaking's going to take forever, so yeah. A lot of the times what I do now is just, like, skip 2 or 3 minutes in between looking for a match, just so you guys get into the next game immediately. I'm sure some of you guys have noticed that from previous episodes of doing 3 games, but yeah, we're at the point now where matchmaking is... I don't think the system is bad, I'm just guessing not too many people play. And matchmaking also prioritizes, I mean, it often tries to find you opponents around your rating, so when you're in, like, the 1800s, which we just passed again, it can be somewhat of a drag. But we're just going to look for someone. And we're going to find Mark from New Jersey with a rating of 1780 for our 3rd opponent of the day, running a team of Porygon 2, Tapu Fini, Muck, Ninetales, Arcanine, and the Mudsdale. So... this reminds me a lot, actually, of my old Melbourne Challenge team, just with the Mudsdale over the Garchomp, which is pretty cool to see. Really strong team composition, very scary in general, especially Muck. So, how do I want to approach this? I think, first of all, Gigalith is really good, as well as Tapu Fini. I might actually just lead with those 2, yeah. And then, obviously, the concern becomes, oh, what am I going to do against the Mudsdale? Well, there are a couple of answers here. I think the best one, probably Gyarados, but Kartana's decent as well. I don't think I really want the Milotic here, because Kartana feels rather essential because it does have the Z move, and it matches up a little bit better against Muck, whereas Muck otherwise is a major problem. And, you know, now with Z move on Gigalith and Kartana, I can threaten the Muck a little bit more. And Kartana with the Z move also threatens Porygon significantly more than a Milotic does here. So, Milotic is tempting, you know, obviously it hits super effectively against Arcanine and the Mudsdale. And Mudsdale's enough of a threat where, like, that could be enough of a reason to bring it. But I think I'm going to go with my dual rock here with Gyarados and Kartana in the back. And we'll see how that plays out. So, should be exciting, though. Cool team. Like, I think Mudsdale is still a Pokemon that probably should see more usage, because, I don't know, it's just a really solid ground type. Obviously, like, Garchomp is the go-to ground type when people think of, you know, ground types to use. Crocodile we saw a little bit earlier in the year, but not as much anymore. So, maybe Ninetales and Porygon. Wow, that's so good for me. I'm shocked my opponent led a Ninetales into a Gigalith. That's, like, the worst thing you could really do. Because basically what I know now is that the Ninetales is switched out, or it's forced to switch out, as download gives Porygon an attack boost as well. Yeah, so if I had to bet, Ninetales here is going to switch out into the Mudsdale, and Porygon's going to Trick Room. So, I have a bunch of plays. I could Curse. I really think it, like, you have to switch out right now. I mean, I wonder if a Z move plus a Sludge Bomb just knocks out Porygon. It really could. You know what, yeah, I'm actually just going to double up into Porygon with a Continental Crush and a Sludge Bomb. Like, there's literally nothing Ninetales can do here. That's why you should never lead Ninetales against Gigalith, specifically because if this happens, you're just in such a bad position. But, well, maybe it goes for something that I don't expect. I mean, like, yeah, there's a switch out. It's gotta be Mudsdale coming in here, I would think. Yeah. So, because my opponent led with that, like, the first turn was relatively telegraphed. I don't know if Sludge Bomb plus the not all pummeling, sorry. Oh, it actually doesn't even Trick Room. Nice, okay. It just goes for an Ice Beam, which does pretty much no damage there. So, yeah, I almost, like, Trick Roomed and, like, went for a Trick Room myself because I was confident Porygon was going to Trick Room, but I decided not to in the off chance that it didn't, and now I should be able to just pick up a knockout onto that slot. Good Mudsdale switch in, obviously, like you pretty much have to go for that. And now Ninetales can come back in and at least put on some more pressure, but I'll still take this first turn definitely, just because I was in a pretty good position to begin with. We'll see if Continental Crush knocks out Porygon. Actually doesn't. Wow, okay. That's kind of annoying, but that's okay. I think, excuse me, if you're my opponent now, you probably high horsepower now Ego and recover with Porygon. I was really hoping to get that knockout, unfortunately, but I did not get it. So, I'm still just going to Sludge Bomb. Yeah, so I have Cortana in the back, which deals with Mudsdale, deals with the Ninetales decently well, and if my opponent has Feeny in the back, Cortana deals with that. If it has Muck or Arcanine in the back, Gigalith sweeps through that. So I think I will just trade knockouts here. Like, you can knock out me. If I get the free switch into Gyarados, I'll get the Intimidate off against Mudsdale. You give me his high horsepower as well. So a bunch of things can go right for me here, but maybe Cursing would have been better there. Who knows? I was really hoping, I really thought Sludge Bomb plus the Z move could knock out there. But I know here, okay, Porygon's staying in since it didn't switch out before Gigalith, so I will just get the knockout there. I would like to take care of Porygon just because my team doesn't have, like, the best answers against it, especially when I commit a Z move to it. I pretty much have to knock it out because otherwise it will be able to get to recover. So Mudsdale here, probably going to go for a high horsepower. Ooh, goes for a Substitute. You know, I'd actually rather see Substitute there than a high horsepower. Because I did get the Intimidate off, so, like, now your damage output is decreased at least. But the question is, who comes back in? Because my opponent brought Ninetales, I can always just switch in Gigalith to make sure 1, Blizzard's accuracy is decreased, and 2, it breaks its Focus Sash, and then 3, it can't Aurora Veil either. So the combination of that's so good, which is why we're going to see Muck come in for my opponent right now. So Muck's obviously pretty scary to go up against. What's sub? Up. The thing is, if I knock out Mudsdale, Gigalith just wins. So, I'm going to... what is more? Sludge Bomb and Waterfall Mudsdale. Yeah. With Life Orb, I might just be able to knock it out outright. Mudsdale could have Protect here as well, but it doesn't go for it. Like, my opponent probably thinks, oh, I have a Sub Bomb, it's pretty safe right now. And this should knock out at +1, yeah. Or not knock out, but yeah, break the Substitute. And I do get the Life Orb Waterfall off as well. Like, Mudsdale's bulky, but this is Life Orb Waterfall we're talking about. And that does pick up the knockout. I do get a crit there. I'm not sure if that really mattered too much, though, but maybe I'll do a calc afterwards just to check. Since Mudsdales are pretty bulky. We do just see a knockoff come out. Yep. Into now Ego, which actually doesn't even knock me out. Which is so good for me. And that... it's not game, like, necessarily just yet. Like, anything could still happen. But it's 4-2 with the Muck and a Ninetales against a Gigalith in the back. And I still got now Ego out right now as well. So, obviously, you know, I do like my positioning. The question is, does my opponent just go for a Blizzard? Like, I could just... I think I probably want to switch out into Gigalith, but I don't want to risk getting frozen. No, it's probably still smart to just switch Gyarados out into Gigalith, though, because then Blizzard probably doesn't even knock me out, even if you do hit. So yeah, I'll just Sludge Bomb Ninetales and switch out. And yeah, it's a really risky call when you bring Ninetales in against Gigalith. I think this game demonstrates why. Like, the Ninetales was rendered absolutely useless from turn 1. I was able to predict the Mudsdale switch in, which was relatively telegraphed, and then I already knew 3 of my opponent's Pokemon as well. And yeah, Ninetales just goes for the Blizzard. It does double connect, so if you freeze me, you're gonna crit here, knock out now Ego, but it doesn't... oh, it actually gets the freeze! Wow. That's why I said, like, it's not over until it's over. We do see the knockoff come out. But now Gigalith, like, my opponent's gonna need to connect with another Blizzard, and it's gonna need to freeze my Gigalith. That's kind of annoying, though, obviously. But oh well. What can you do? That's the only win condition my opponent has, so I will just Rock Slide and Power Gem here. I could miss Rock Slide as well, so like my opponent's not necessarily out of it yet. He's going to need an immense amount of luck, and he protects Ninetales as well, which gives me a chance to on-ball with the now Ego. But I don't on-ball, which is unfortunate. And we're going to see just a knockoff come out into Gigalith again, okay? I suppose that makes sense. I don't think even another Blizzard and knockoff will knock me out. But I guess this is getting kind of scary now. Yeah, good play by my opponent there. Does Muck get knocked out? Or put in berry range? No. So, my opponent now needs to double connect I think Rocks, like, I don't think Blizzard plus knockoff knocks out Gigalith anyway. Actually, to ensure that, I could just easily switch into Gyarados, which I think I actually will do, and just Rock Slide. Yeah, because I'm going to knock out Muck with Kartana in the endgame, but just kind of, I don't know, like I want to say I'm playing it safe, like maybe it was better. Just this reduces the chance, because I was kind of worried Blizzard plus knockoff could knock me out. Now it definitely shouldn't, unless my opponent crits. 4 for 4 on Blizzard so far, though, outside of Hail. Wow, that did a lot more than I actually thought it would. Okay. That was really close. Wow, I really didn't think Blizzard would do that much. Oh my gosh. That was scary, because if my opponent actually picked up the knockout there, then... Like, my opponent basically needed to freeze and then hit, like, 8 for 8 on Blizzards, but he got the freeze, and then he hit 4 for 4 on Blizzard, so that was actually really scary, and... I feel like the Blizzard was a really high damage roll on the Gigalith there, but yeah, that Intimidate ending ends up being pretty crucial there, just because if I actually didn't bring in the Intimidate, the knockoff would have knocked out Gigalith, but yeah, that was crazy. I felt it was like I had this game 100% won, but that's why it's never like 100% when you could get frozen, you could get critical hit and stuff, but you know, my opponent was going for his win condition at that point. You really need to just hope for some luck, like a critical hit, like a freeze, like some misses, and you go for what you can. We do see the knockoff go into Gyarados there, does pick up the knockout, but Rock Slide here should finish up the deal. But that was, yeah, like, the odds of me winning that were so slim, but anytime there's even, like, a 0.000000001% chance of winning, you go for it, right? Like, why give up? Especially if you've already revealed, like, the moves you're using to your opponent. There's not even much information to conserve. So, we do end up picking a win there, but that was pretty scary, honestly. I thought Gigalith would live relatively comfortably from the Blizzard knockoff double target, and it was just like a little bit off from knocking it out. I had 4 HP, and if I faint there, then I'm actually potentially in a bad position if Ninetales hits a Blizzard again against both my Muck and my Gyarados and my Kartana and Idolanthaul. So, wow. A lot of things going right there for my opponent, but fortunately enough, Gigalith was clutch. So we do end up with a couple of wins here. And a really fun episode overall. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, leave a like if you did. Thank you guys for watching. Go check out US Internats, which will be this upcoming weekend. Hopefully I can do well and play well on stream, and I'm looking forward to competing again, and I'll catch you guys next time. Alright, peace.